Absolutely.
Now, Jaylen Brown yesterday was at the at Thomas and Mack for the Lakers and Celtics Summer League game, and he brought his lady friend, and he brought their lady friend Angel Reese.
Okay.
And I wonder, with all of the hurt feelings that Jaylen Brown has had, maybe it's rightful hurt feelings that Jaylen Brown has had over not being selected for the Olympic team, him basically calling out Nike and saying Nike's had something to do with it, because Jaylen Brown, used to put, paper over the Nike checks back in the day when he was, playing and stuff like that. So there's clearly a fractured relationship between he and Nike, and insinuating that Nike, who's a USAB sponsor, made a decision.
Right.
Part of me felt like that was really bad form, considering your teammate, Derek White, your teammate you just won a championship with, was the guy who was picked over you. Now, he cleaned it up a little bit yesterday, said that he talked with Derek White and everything else and congratulated him, privately. But did it feel a little weird to you that because it's your teammate that you can't be out here, crying over spilled milk?
I agree. I was trying to think of back to a situation where, because this sounds so familiar before, right? Where someone gets picked and it's your teammate and you just have to show love first and be, encouraging first. But at the same time, though, I understand the frustration from him, and I understand feeling the need to voice that in some way, shape, or form. I think when you take that type of disrespect, right? Because if you're really a competitor, if you really are as good as you say you are, Finals MVP, you feel disrespected. And so I feel like it's hard to be able to take that disrespect and just be quiet and just say like, hey, my teammate, who, yes, played an important role, but my teammate is going, instead of me. But I think at the same time, again, this is why rosters are made. This is why it's a roster, and it's not just the best people who do things. Like, people see things differently. Yes, the tryout process is tough. And could we argue that, if there was a tryout process, we wouldn't be talking about this? Absolutely. But we also could still be talking about this, right? So I don't know. But I agree with you that it was a little bit weird, but I also understood him being a competitor. Why he wanted to say something. It just wasn't necessarily the greatest thing to say or smoothest thing to say. I don't know. He should talk to his PR person, if you ask me. I don't
know. It was a bit weird. And Ice asked me before we started, where are you right now? I said, I am in Detroit, Michigan, which will lead me to my next point. When I think of Olympic snubs, I think of one basketball Olympic snub. And this ain't that. Y'all, okay? This ain't Zeke getting snubbed in 1991-92 for the Barcelona games because Michael Jordan's feelings was hurt. I don't care about this ain't, when I think of Olympic snubs, that's what I think of. Jaylen Brown, I get it. You can have some hurt feelings, but Jaylen Brown is young enough that he can still get back to it in 4 years. And also from the standpoint of team building. And I was talking to people, with USA Basketball, with the staff and everything else. And the one point that they made to me, Ice, was Derek White can come into a game and play the role of ball hawk for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is, and he won't need the ball on the other end of the floor. Inherently in that, which is not what they necessarily said, but I'm taking liberties here, taking practical liberties here. Inherently what they're saying in that is, Jaylen Brown, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, NBA Finals MVP. Yes, he can pressure you up the floor because we saw him do it with Luka Doncic. But also he was a hub on offense during the finals. Right. And he was getting the ball. You ain't getting the ball with Steph Curry, with LeBron, with KD, with Ant-Man, with, Joel Embiid, assuming he's on the floor as much. You wind up being just a guy. And I don't know if rightfully Jaylen Brown would say, hey, I'm the last man standing in June. Those dudes were sitting at home, and I was the best player in the last 2 rounds of the most important series of the NBA season. I should get the ball. So I do think there's a balance there, but I wonder if there was a USAB sort of way that they could have called Jaylen and said, hey, Jaylen, we know you want to play. We don't know if this is a role that you would embrace or whatever. I wonder if there's a way to kind of split the baby.
Or maybe that information maybe that was done. Who knows?
Maybe the decision was made well enough in advance that it did not matter.
100%. That too.
You are a smart one, Ice. That's why we got you here. That decision seemed to be made weeks in it. That decision was made during the NBA Finals, if not before that. If Kawhi Leonard was going to be gone, then we don't need another big wing. That we need like a smaller guard who can play up as opposed to a wing who can play down. All right.